The House of Kuru, Part 2, Chapter 31. No rest for the wicked. News of Vaka's death traveled like wildfire throughout the land. While hordes of citizens rejoiced on the death of the tyrant, one man did not. Shakuni was now convinced that Bhima, along with his brothers, escaped the fire in the palace of wax. You see, the death of Hidimba could have been a coincidence, but the death of Vaka, that too within a span of a few months, cannot be mere coincidence. It was as if someone was hunting down these cannibal ogres and slaughtering them. There were rumors that Mahavishnu himself had incarnated and slaughtered a large regiment of cannibals and rakshasas, but all those rumors were far too north, near the cities of Mathura and Vrindavana. The city of Ekachakra was daringly close to Varanavata, and hence unlikely for the incarnate of Mahavishnu to have had a hand. Yet, Bhima fitted this puzzle perfectly enough for Shakuni to begin losing sleep. Bhima's wrath, coupled with Arjuna's bow, would mean certain death for Duryodhana and his brothers. Shakuni was in a tight situation. Telling Duryodhana and his father would mean that Shakuni's plot for murder failed. Yet, not telling them could be far more dangerous should Bhima and his brothers somehow build an army and march at their doorsteps. He kept mulling over what to do over and over. Duryodhana, on the other hand, was overjoyed. Convinced his nemesis Bhima died in a palace fire and, being recently crowned the Prince of Hastinapura, the world was in his palms. He skipped, danced, and rejoiced everywhere he went. This pleased the Emperor Dhritarashtra immensely, so much so that he showered Shakuni with praise and wealth at every opportunity. Shakuni tried his best to downplay the praise and wealth, but both Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra were convinced Shakuni was the reason for their happiness. Eventually, he realized that the news of Vaka's death was best delivered through him than through any other source. He had a tight control on all the information that went to the Emperor of Hastinapura and placed a huge penalty on any royal spy who sent any message to the Emperor. Your Majesty, said Shakuni, on a particularly delightful morning for Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. They had just finished discussing the matters of state, and Vidura had done a particularly excellent job summarizing the needs of the people. The people in the land were content, albeit still upset that the presumed death of the Pandava brothers. Shakuni ensured that everyone had left and only Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra were present. I have some news for you, Shakuni said slowly, and Dhritarashtra, with a sense of importance, nodded slightly towards Shakuni. I have just found out that Vaka, the monstrous ogre pestering the land of Ekachakra, has been slaughtered, said Shakuni grimly. This is great news. The cannibal Vaka is no longer a threat to our kingdom, exclaimed Dhritarashtra, to Shakuni's surprise. Just then did Shakuni realize that Dhritarashtra simply did not understand the conniving nature of power. Your Majesty, Vaka's death should be a big concern. It comes dangerously close to where the sons of Pandu, the Pandava brothers, was said to have been killed, said Shakuni. No ordinary army can defeat Vaka, let alone a human. Yet the nature of the slaughter indicates that a human being tore him apart limb from limb and shattered his spine. Only one person in the world would fit this description, Your Majesty, and I shudder to think who it is, continued Shakuni, And finally, it dawned on the blind king who this person could be. No, you don't think, you can't be serious, stammered the Emperor of Hastinapura. Yes, your majesty. The death of Hidimba could be brushed aside as mere coincidence, but not Vaka. No, Vaka is a formidable monster. Armies shudder with the mere mention of his name. Only a titan of extreme prowess can take him on. That titan is none other than Bhima, said Shakuni. Ugh! Uncle Shakuni, you're too quick to jump to conclusions. If Bhima, and I mean if Bhima killed Vaka or Hidimba, he merely got lucky. A slam from my mace will slaughter that insolent son of Pandu. Fear not, father. There is no need for concern, as long as I am near you, interjected Suryodhana, as Dhritarashtra smiled softly. Understand your enemy, Suryodhana, and do not underestimate Vaka or Hidimba. Both are titans in their own respect, and armies have fled in fear of their mere roar. If Bhima indeed killed them, he possesses superhuman strength beyond doubt, chastised Shakuni, as Suryodhana scowled and glared at Shakuni. Dhritarashtra looked visibly upset. Suryodhana was not sure whether to be angry with Shakuni or console his father. Sensing the discomfort, Shakuni approached the emperor and placed an arm around his shoulder. Your Majesty, the sons of Pandu, if they are alive, they will be in hiding. I suggest you send out men to find out where they are cowering, and when we do, we launch a war on any kingdom or village they are seeking refuge in and bring them before us as prisoners, as they have broken the law, committed murder of two powerful beings and not reported back to the kingdom, back to you, your majesty. Since the palace burned down, this is treason. They need to be imprisoned, said Shakuni, much to Suryodhana's pleasure as Dhritarashtra nodded. You say that Vaka defeated armies. Hidimba slaughtered the bravest of men, and now you suspect that Bhima killed both Vaka and Hidimba without weapons, using his bare hands. Do you really think that Bhima will simply surrender when the armies of Hastinapura approach? Asked Dhritarashtra. No, your majesty, Bhima certainly won't. But his elder brother, the firstborn son of Pandu, Yudhishthira, will, and the sons of Pandu relentlessly obey their brother, said Shakuni with a sly smile on his convoluted face, draped with a dark mascara around his eyes. Dhritarashtra agreed. But how do we send out armies of men without raising suspicion, uncle? Asked Suryodhana. No, not armies, but spies. Spies all across Bharata. And once our spies know for sure the whereabouts of the Pandavas, we unleash the armies, nephew, said Shakuni, and now all three of them had wicked smiles drenched across their faces. The very next day, hundreds of spies were sent all over the land to look for the sons of Pandu. The spies were well informed on the potential whereabouts of the Pandava brothers, and the fact that the sons of Pandu were most likely under the guise as laborers or merchants. So, do the spies find them? Tell me, how do the Pandavas remain in hiding? What happened to King Drupada? Asked Janamejaya. He was supposed to set up the contest of kings, he asked eagerly. Dear student, it's one story for one night. Patience, O mighty scion of Hastinapura. Patience, all will be revealed, said the Rajaguru Vaishampayana.